All right, this lesson, number 4, is in Photoshop, and it's going to be called the Photoshop Recolor project. It's located here in Schoology. When I click on it, this should open up all the files for this assignment. Click on Lesson 4 Recolor. There's nothing there. It just has, it's a placeholder for this lesson. You have a tutorial. The tutorial looks like this. It has 3 pages. When it decides to load. And this file will walk us through the steps of creating, taking a black and white image and turning it into a colorized version of a black and white image. And this is what back in the early 1900s, 1800s and stuff, they'd have people that would colorize pictures, and they'd take a black and white image, and they'd use paint and dyes to color in an image and give it a more natural look. Usually you could tell that they were colorized because they did not look very natural, but it did look like color put onto the picture. And this is our Photoshop way of doing that. So here's the tutorial. You can walk through that. We're going to follow that tutorial to create or use one of these pictures and turn it to a color version. So there are 3 pictures that we have with this project. The first one is a boat. And the boat looks like this. And you can colorize the boat, the water, the sky, the sand or rocks in front, the land in the background, and all that stuff. We have a picture of a basket of fruit. Basket of fruit looks like this. It's very easy to turn to a colorized version because the fruit, you can choose whatever color you want. And make it colorized. And then the third one is a balloon launch. So there's a bunch of balloons in the sky, and you can choose how you're going to colorize these different images. So I'm going to choose the fruit for right now. Here is the assignment. This is where you're going to turn the file in. Remember that you're going to follow the directions to develop a colorized version of this black and white picture. Follow the tutorial, use the masking tool, and then save your file as a JPEG to turn it in. So in the directions, it's going to have a way to save it, or a name to save this as. So make sure you're following the naming scheme for this project and that you're turning in the JPEG file. I don't want to see a screenshot or a Photoshop document. I want to see the JPEG version. So and remember, you turn your files in right here. So to start this project, what we need to do very first is find the picture we're going to use. And I'm going to go to the fruit. And when the fruit opens up, there, it's loaded completely. I can 2-finger click or right click or control click on here. There it goes. And I want to download this image or save it as. I'm going to choose a specific folder for this so I don't have to worry about it going into a place that I don't need it. So I'm going to go down. It goes in multimedia. Second hour. And this is going to be saved as black and white fruit. So hit save. Then in Photoshop, I'm going to go File and Open. I'm going to open that same image I just downloaded. And it should be in my Documents Multimedia folder. And because I've opened it up in here before, it comes right up to this location. So I click on BW Fruit and click Open. And when it finally opens up. It should look like this. Now, in the last lesson, no, actually 2 lessons ago, when we were working with the selection tools up here in the corner, we used one called the magnetic lasso. We've also used the lasso tool, just a regular lasso tool, to grab stuff. We could also use a polygon lasso tool, which will do just angles. It doesn't do curves. The magnetic lasso and the lasso tool both do curves. There's another one here that you could try called the quick selection. If I click on the quick selection tool and I click here, you'll see that it tries to grab an area. It creates a little area there that has a selection around it. And we have 3 settings across the top to do a new selection, which if I do that one and I click someplace, it's going to just create a brand new one and erase the old one. If I hit the add to, it's going to add to wherever I click, it's adding to that area. And you kind of see what it does. If I command D to deselect that, if I want to select this orange or a lime or whatever this is up here in the front, if I'm clicking and holding and dragging my mouse, it is going to go around, and eventually it should select that entire object, whatever it is. So now that I can use that quick selection. I actually prefer to use the magnetic lasso because I think it gives us more more well-defined area of selection, but you're more than welcome to use either one of these to do your selection for this project. Once we have this, the selection done, you can see that there are marching ants going around the outside. The dashes are moving. We're going to go into the quick mask. The quick mask is down here at the bottom, and I'm going to zoom in on that area. Underneath the colors, you'll see a thing. It has a square, and then there's a circle in the center of it. That's called the quick mask. What that does is that lets us isolate the image that we are going to, or part of the image that we're going to be working in. It keeps everything else locked out. It lets us work just in this. If you imagine if you're painting in a house and you want to keep a specific part isolated, so you're not getting paint all over it, you put masking tape around. Basically, the red part is the masking tape, and it gives us the ability to do whatever we want on this image and not modify the image in the background. So we're going to create a new layer. You can see that I have this orange selected. If I had other things, I'm going to turn the mask off by clicking over here again. If I had maybe this one over here, I want to add to this one to the selection too. I can do that. And now when I hit the mask tool, you'll see that both of them have been selected. So if you have this red and you want to make it go away, you just click this mask tool down here in the bottom corner again, and it goes away. And then you can edit it in standard mode. You can also press the letter Q. You see that's the shortcut for this. So because this is going to be an orange color, it's going creating a new layer for this. And so to create a new layer, I'm going to click in this bottom right-hand corner. And the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. When I go down there, it says create a new layer. When I click on that little plus sign, it's going to create a new layer right here. And I'll zoom back out. It looks like my selection disappeared. Nope, there it is. It's still there. Click on it again to make it come back. I can choose a color. So if I want this to be these to be limes instead of oranges, I can click on that, choose a lime color. I forgot one crucial step here. If we go up here to image, why doesn't it let us do that? There we go. Let's turn off mask. Deselect. We have to change our image mode from, oh, it is green. or RGB. I don't know why I didn't do that. Let me select it again. See, that's the only reason I don't like the selection tool, because sometimes it gets squirrely. So I'm going to come around here. Let's go reselect my object there. Do this one over here too. There's that one. Please spend more time selecting your objects than I do. There we go. So I have our new layer, and the mask tool. Why it goes grayscale? I don't know. Let's leave the mask tool off. Does it let us do? There we go. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the Option and Delete key. Option and Delete. We'll fill this in very quickly. It'll look like this. You can also use the Fill Bucket, which is underneath. Sometimes it starts off as the Gradient tool. Use the Paint Bucket tool and fill these in as well. Then the next thing we're going to do is, it doesn't look very realistic right now, where it says Normal on the right hand side. We're going to click on Normal, and you're going to go down to where it says Overlay. And what these do, this creates a different style of layer. It's like changing the what it's doing to the actual image in the background. So I can change, modify different things on here. I'm going to go to the overlay and click on that, and you can see that it changes what the color overlay looks like. And now I'm going to deselect, so Command D to deselect that, and I'm going to adjust the opacity of this layer. So right now it's at 100%. The opacity is how transparent it is. So as I move this down, you'll see that eventually it looks more realistic, and I'm down to about 45 to 50 right now, and so it looks a little bit more realistic. You can change it to whatever level you would like. If you think that looks a little too bright, you can change it. But like I said, I'm going to leave mine about 50%. And then what we want to do also is name the layer. That way I know which layer I'm looking at. I can see that this is the green layer. But I would want to click here on layer 1, and I might call this, double click and call this the green layer. That way I know that when I click on this layer, I'm going to be modifying the green portions of this this image. So the next thing I want to do is click on background again. Use my selection tool. This time I want to get bananas. You see it gets that. There's my plus. Gets that. A little bit right there. I have a little bit too much. So I might subtract this. Like I said, this quick selection tool is good for some things. Not really good for others, but make sure you look at your whole selection. Make sure you have everything that you want to have selected on there. I'm going to add 2 again and click on this outside part. So now that I have my banana selected, I'm going to create a new layer. And this one I'm going to call the yellow layer. And I'm going to use the quick selection tool up here. Select the yellow. I'm going to fill this in using the paint bucket or the option delete. We'll do it very quickly. You can see I have the entire part there selected. I'm going to choose overlay, which is going to overlay that color. And then I can drop the opacity down to 50%. Looks a lot more realistic than it did before. It looks like real bananas now. So you're going to continue this process. You don't have to choose realistic colors if you don't want to. If you want to have blue pears or purple peaches or red bananas, you can do whatever colors you want. We're just working on the basic skills of using our selection tools, adding new layers and relabeling new layers, using the opacity selection to change the amount of opacity in the picture, and then also with the overlay layer style, adjusting that so we can see what that does to our overall image. So that's the setup for this project. You're going to continue doing this until you have all of the fruit selected, or the balloon or the boat, and you're changing pretty much everything in the entire image. The only part you don't have to change, at least on this one, is the background. And I could always deselect with Command D. Click on the background. You'll see that it gets. Well, I'm selecting everything. Oh, because I'm on the yellow layer. See, it's not doing what I want it to do. So I click on background. I can select the background there just by clicking around, and it should select everything behind here. There we go. And then I could do a new one called background color. I want everything to be blue. Option delete, and everything in the background is now blue. So that gives you the ability to change everything in the image. In this one, really all you have to change is the fruit. Command D to deselect. If you have any questions as you go through this project, please let me know. Good luck.